Hello, everyone. Thank you for staying and listening to our next presentation. This is Treena, and she's here from the Alzheimer's Association. And she is going to do a presentation on healthy living for your brain and your body. And there is a sign-in sheet going around, so if you could please make sure you sign in. Laura's gonna, over at the desk, is gonna help get that moved around to make sure everybody gets signed in. So thank you, and Treena, welcome.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you to Oxford Parks and Rec for having us come out. And just to let you know, before I forget, we do have a table right in the next room with more information, and my coworker Kathleen is out there. So I hope that you get a chance to stop by. But thank you so much for joining, and we just want to talk a few minutes about healthy living for our brain and body. We would love to share this information because we feel that it's important enough to possibly lower our risk of developing Alzheimer's and dementia. So with that, we're going to get started, and I will be having you participate a little bit. I may ask you some questions, so be ready, okay? All right, so I am one of the program managers at the Alzheimer's Association. Our main office for Michigan is in Southfield, but we have regional offices all across the state, and we also are national, so there is a chapter in every state in the U.S. And really, our mission and our vision is a world without Alzheimer's. We are heavily involved with the research that's going on, but we are also offering education, information, and services to the communities, as well as to caregivers and those who have been diagnosed with Alzheimer's or a related dementia. So today, our objectives, we just want to highlight some of these areas when we're making our decisions regarding our health. So we'll talk about sleep, smoking, mental health, physical activity, balanced nutrition, cognitive engagement, and social engagement. So let's talk a little bit about the brain and see how that is connected. All right. So the brain is the control center of the entire body. It manages everything, including our thoughts and our movements. There are approximately 100 billion nerve cells, called neurons, in the brain. They are structured like branches of a tree, creating a network of pathways through which signals are sent to form those memories, thoughts, and feelings. So many diseases can affect the brain. For example, Alzheimer's progressively destroys brain cells as it moves throughout the brain, affecting more functions as the disease progresses. So sometimes you may hear that what's good for the heart is good for the brain. What's good for the brain is good for the heart. We are finding that that is true. And so we realize that it's connected, and that's why it's good for the heart. That's, whatever is good for the heart is good for the brain. So much of the heart-brain connection is due to the fact that the brain is nourished by the body's richest network of blood vessels. And the oxygen and other elements delivered to the brain throughout the brain's bloodstream keep the brain nourished. So each time your heart beats, 20 to 25% of the blood being moved goes to the brain. So this is why keeping the heart is good. It's good to keep it in good working order so that the brain can be fueled. So I have a question for you. This is a true or false. Is Alzheimer's a normal part of aging? True or false? Correct. It is false. Alzheimer's is a progressive and fatal brain disease. Symptoms usually develop slowly and get worse over time. So while the greatest known risk factor of Alzheimer's is increasing age, the disease is not the normal part of aging. It's not what is supposed to happen. Most individuals with the disease are 65 and older. After the age of 65, the risk of developing Alzheimer's can double every 5 years. So after 85, the risk is about 1 in 3. So that's why we want to do something. We want to do what we can to protect our heart, to protect our brain. So as we get older, it's common to experience some of those age-related changes to memory or thinking abilities, such as forgetting where we left something but finding it later, or sometimes having trouble finding the right word. This can be known as a cognitive decline. I do want to stop here though and say that we all can forget. As we age, we sometimes have to find other ways of remembering, like writing it down more, right? Recalling. When I forget something, what am I doing to find it? I'm backtracking. I'm backtracking where I was last. So I might say, I was in the living room, and then before that, I was in my bedroom, and before that, I was out in the garage, and there I go, and I find my keys. So having the ability to backtrack is a very good thing. All right, so let's keep that in mind. I don't want anybody to panic because we've misplaced something, misplaced our glasses or our keys. It's really more serious than that. It's forgetting familiar things. It may be that it's repetitive, it's happening over and over and over again. Then that might be one of those warning signs. And I did give everyone a card that has the 10 warning signs on there. It's good to look those over, and if you see 3 or 4 on the list that you feel you're experiencing, or your person that you live with, or your neighbor or family or friends are experiencing, that might just be a warning sign that, hey, maybe we should just get this checked out to see what's really happening or what's going on. May not mean that it's Alzheimer's, right? There are other things that can mimic Alzheimer's or memory loss, let me say that. Other things like taking certain medications can cause memory loss. If we have a thyroid condition, that can cause memory loss. So, we don't want to panic, but we want to see the warning signs, watch for those warning signs, and talk to our doctor about it. Okay, so I want to explain a little bit about dementia. It's a general term. It means cognitive decline. There's some short-term memory loss. And think of it as a big umbrella. And it's just a term, okay? But under the umbrella of dementia are several conditions. Alzheimer's is one of those conditions. A person who's had a stroke, it's usually, there's some signs of memory changes with someone who's had a stroke. Maybe they've had head injury, they fell, they were in a car accident, they had some damage to the brain. All of that falls under the umbrella of dementia. Okay. So, Alzheimer's disease is the most common cause of dementia. Worldwide, an estimated 55 million, and that number is increasing. People are living with Alzheimer's and dementia. Right now, there's no cure. We'll talk a little bit later about the latest medication that you've probably been hearing about. It's the first one to really target those plaques and the tangles. Before that, like Aricept and Exelon, those were treating the symptoms. But the newest medication, which is lecanemab, and I always mispronounce it, but I'll make sure to spell it for you at the end. But that latest drug is targeting those plaques and those tangles. Okay. So while there's no current, proven method to prevent cognitive decline, research has shown that we can take action to reduce our risk of developing it and help maintain our potentially improve our overall health. Okay, so this here is the story of each of us, of our health. Some things we have because it's genetic. It's in our family history. There's nothing that we can do to change that, right? But it can also be our environment and our lifestyle. So those are some things that we can get involved in and do something as it relates to our health. All right, so many factors can impact our health, including those genes and family history and lifestyle. As we age, it's common for us to experience some of those similar changes, like getting gray hair or wrinkles or needing glasses for reading. But as individuals, we experience getting older in many different ways. And this is due in part to our genes. Our genes are beyond our control and they influence the way that we are. So for example, a family's genes may allow them to live well into their 90s or even longer, while other families' genes can lead to diseases earlier in life and may shorten their lifespan. In addition, the environments in which we live, work, and play can have significant effects on our health, and many of these are difficult to change and beyond our control. But we do have some control over those factors. So making improvements in those areas that I mentioned before is what we want to try to do to lower our risk of dementia as well as heart disease. So let's take a look at some areas that maybe we can control, work on, and you should be working with your doctor on these things. So our blood pressure, our blood sugar, our weight, our cholesterol levels are all key parts of the story of our overall health, including our brain. So it's important for us to understand the numbers and to keep an eye on them. All right? So making sure we're going to our appointments and talking to our physician about what's happening. So what the sciences are telling us, there's strong evidence of a connection between midlife high blood pressure or hypertension and later life dementia. This evidence also shows that controlling blood sugar can have a significant effect on your risk of cognitive decline and possibly dementia. So keeping diabetes controlled is important. Studies have shown an increase in the risk of cognitive decline and possibly dementia among individuals living with diabetes, although diabetes has not to this point been proven to cause Alzheimer's disease. Maintaining a healthy weight is important too. Researchers have found that midlife obesity may be associated with an increased risk of dementia. We also know that a good cholesterol level is good for the heart, and what's good for the heart, again, as I mentioned, is also good for the brain. So the best way to combat these health concerns is, again, to know those numbers and be in touch with your care professional. Whoops. Sorry about that. So I have another true and false question for you. It's never too early or too late to incorporate healthy habits. True or false? Good. Okay. Yes, people of all ages, we can benefit from adding in more healthy behaviors, and so we want to talk about those. So how are our sleep patterns? How are we doing with sleep? Not only does sleep allow us to rest and recharge, it also affects our ability to maintain healthy blood pressure and control diabetes. So that's great information. Inadequate sleep due to conditions like insomnia or sleep apnea can cause problems with our memory and our thinking. Sleep apnea is a condition in which breathing stops and restarts many times while we are sleeping. Oops. Should have been on the next slide. So it looks like she's getting some good quality sleep right there. And, I'll say that as I'm getting older, I notice that I'm not sleeping as well. And so I have to look at that and try to figure out what's going on. And it's different for everyone. So, for instance, I've had to really cut back on the time that I drink coffee. I cannot. And for you, it may be fine. But for me, I cannot drink it after a certain time anymore. So I stopped like about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and when I talked to my doctor about it, he said, it really should be about noon that you should stop. And I'm like, oh. So I try to get my coffee in if I'm gonna have it, and I don't drink a lot of it. I can easily do today I had 1 cup, and that's gonna be it anyway for me. Sometimes it's just a half a cup, but that might be something to look at if you're having problems with sleep. How much caffeine am I taking in when it's late? What about what I'm doing just before bed? Some people can, watch TV and fall asleep, but for most, you really need the brain to slow down. So all of that stimulation with television and on our phones and scrolling or whatever, or just being really active before bed could make you more awake. So just think about some of the things that you are doing if you're having problems sleeping. But all of the other things that I mentioned, even being overweight, can cause us not to sleep as well. And so I'm raising my hand for that. I'm still working on that, always watching the weight so that I can function better. Okay.
Excuse me, talking about weight, you talk about food?
We are. We're going to talk about nutrition. Yes, we are. So this is really just a review of what I just said. Thinking about what your setting looks like when you're sleeping. What is the setting? And trying to minimize any disruptions. So you may want to control the temperature in the room. That might help. What's your lighting like in the room? That could cause some issues. It's too dark, it's too light, it's too, you have to think about what it might be for you. Okay, smoking. All right. Smoking has a direct impact on the health of your brain. So I'm here to just read some facts. That's it. Studies have found that smoking increases the risk of cognitive decline and may increase the risk of dementia. The benefits of quitting smoking include a lower risk of heart attack, stroke, and lung disease, better blood circulation, and avoiding exposing others to secondhand smoke. Quitting smoking may reduce a person's chance of developing cognitive decline back down to the level of non-smokers. So if you currently smoke, think about what could help you to stop. If you don't smoke, what's helped you to stay smoke-free? There are resources available in your community online. So, just take a look at that. And we know that quitting can be hard, but we keep working on it, right? Let's keep working on it if that's something that we are dealing with. Whoops, I went ahead of myself a little bit, but I always like to give the example of my girlfriend. She started smoking at like 14, and so she smoked for several years, and she tried a lot of things, but for her, there was a laser treatment that she did, and that did it for her. She never had the desire again, and now I know it's been over 20 years that she has, not smoked. So it's what works for you. You have to find out from your resources what might work. But, I say keep trying. So our mental health is important as well. I realize that sometimes we have a lot on our plate. Sometimes we're worried about our children, our grandchildren, finances. There may be lots of things that are going on, but it's important that we maintain our mental health. So if we have anxiety or stress or depression, those are things that we want to seek out some help for resources, because they are saying that can definitely affect the health of our brain. Okay, I don't know how my time is doing. I'm gonna move a little bit faster. So it's important to take care of yourself, and the way that we do that is think about those things that we enjoy doing. What is it that you enjoy right now? What are you doing that makes you feel good, that makes you feel energized and happy? And then how can I incorporate that, and how can I focus on my self-care? And they give some examples here of some things we can do, and I'm sure that you're already doing some of this, right? Taking a nap, going for a walk, maybe you like dancing, square dancing, whatever, singing a song, baking, reading a book, watching something that's funny. And I want to say that one of the doctors that we used to work with, they're now retired, but she said, every day it's important to find something to laugh about, because it's stimulating those endorphins that we have. So she said, make it up, find something to laugh about. And I think we can do that, right? If we think about some of the, I was thinking of the classics, I Love Lucy. Oh my goodness, those reruns, I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen that one with her on that, when she's supposed to be the candy maker and the thing just keeps going. I cry tears every time I see that, So finding things that make us laugh, right? Important. Okay, get moving. I think we all know that physical activity, how important that is. There is evidence that physical activity may directly, again, benefit those brain cells by increasing the blood and oxygen flow. So Most researchers believe exercise should be regular and on the more vigorous side, things that can get the heart pumping and blood flowing. So think about what you're doing now, and maybe if I can get somebody really quick to tell me what you're doing now for physical activity. What are you currently doing for physical activity? Yes.
I started a Tai Chi class here.
Tai Chi here. Love it, love it. Anybody else? Yes.
We do silver sneakers 3 days a week.
Silver sneakers 3 days a week. So, and does that, you walk a certain path, or tell me what, I know I've heard of silver sneakers, but I'm not sure.
It's cardio, stretching.
Oh, cardio, stretching. Okay, good. That's great.
Strength and balance.
Strength and balance.
Strength and balance. Okay, yes, yes.
I walk, I bike, and I garden.
Walk, bike, and garden. I love it. I love it. I tried pickleball earlier. I really like it. It's hard to get a court, but I like it. It was something new, and that's important to learn something new because then it, it challenges your brain more. So learning something new. So think about what you can add. What can I add to my physical activity? Everybody's different. Everybody can't get on the treadmill, or run or whatever, but think about what's working for you and then what can I add as far as physical health. All right, and well, we've already talked about that. It's always nice to get somebody to join you too. It kind of helps to motivate you, right? Okay, let's quickly talk about nutrition. Here's the one that the lady wanted to talk about, nutrition. So here we are. Eating an overall healthy diet may reduce our risk of many diseases. So I want you to tell me what you are currently doing or eating that you feel is healthy. What are you eating now that's healthy? Salad, okay. Anybody else? Fruit, yes. And here's examples up here of a balanced nutrition, the DASH diet, that's the dietary approach to stop hypertension, or the Mediterranean diet. So that includes the fruits and vegetables, nuts, beans, and whole grains, lean meats, fish and poultry, healthier fats, and limited sugar and salt. So these are things that we know, but sometimes we just have to be reminded that's for each of us. There are certain things that I really love. So I try to keep it out of the house, right? I love French fries. I love French fries, and I love those plain potato chips. So I really try to avoid. And it's hard because my husband is the cook in the house, and he's the chef. And so sometimes he will make homemade fries, and I'm like, why? Why are you doing this to me? But he's been doing really good, though. I mean, he's working out almost every day, and he's doing really good. So, but sometimes he'll throw in something that, and it's okay occasionally, but consistently, we want to make sure we're watching what we're eating. That's really important. So maybe how can I cook it differently? How can I buy it differently? How can I maybe reduce some of the red meat, have leaner meats? So just think about what you're currently eating and maybe what you are willing to try. So every time I ask this, I get frowns. Let me see if I get a frown today. I tried the black bean burger. See? I see it. I see a frown already. It was good. I mean, it was a little spicy, and I still put the mustard on there and lettuce, tomatoes, and it was good. I've had it more than once. Doesn't mean that that's what you have to do, but I'm trying things to replace some of the meat to, just to lower some of that. So anyways, think about what you're eating now and maybe what can I incorporate Just try something different. Using olive oil is another healthier oil instead of the butter. Using sodium-free spices or flavorings instead of the salt. Focus on what you can add in, such as more fruits and veggies instead of what to take away. Build your meals around vegetables, beans, and whole grains, and choose those leaner cuts of meat. So that's your homework, right? That's all of our homework. So quickly, just about vitamins and supplements, just be careful about false claims. There's a lot of herbs and whatever, and not to say don't take them, but you just want to be careful. And talk to your doctor. I mean, I know some doctors are probably not going to advise you on some of that. Or you can talk to a nutritionist. But just being careful, because some of the herbs, if you're taking other medication, it can have a counter effect. Some of them are like a blood thinner, have a blood thinner symptom or reaction or whatever. So just be careful of what you are taking. Always talk to your doctor about your supplements. And the last one is on, how challenging our brain, right? So here's another question. Challenging your brain may help lower your risk of cognitive decline. True or false? True. So again, I would love to hear what you're doing currently to challenge your brain. What are some of the things that you are doing? Yes.
I like doing word searches.
Yes, word searches, definitely. Reading. What else are we doing? Those crossword puzzles. Anything that's the games. There's a lot of card games that really cause you to think. You've really got to think. Anybody doing Sudoku? Oh, wow. Okay, good. That's challenging. I've tried Sudoku. I'm like, ooh, all right. Anything else? All right, well, if you are already actively challenging your brain, always think of ways that you can increase that you can improve that by trying something new. Learn a new language, just learn something new. There are a lot of classes now that we can take online or we can take here at the center. So challenge your brain to learn because we feel that it'll have a good effect on your short and long-term memory. Okay? And also socialization. I was really surprised to find out about how important socialization is. People who live alone or who are alone often tend to be at a higher risk for developing Alzheimer's or dementia. So making sure we are engaging with others. I think that because it's getting that brain stimulated, because you're spending time with others, you're laughing, you're learning. So it's good that you're here today. Get involved, make sure your neighbors and your friends, if they tend to be on, more on the loner side, try to invite them and get people involved, because we definitely want to do all that we can to mentally stimulate our brain. Okay, I think that I have covered just about everything, and I can definitely take questions at this point. If anybody has questions, okay, here and then there.
What about Prevagen, which I see advertised on TV, which
Oh.
you can buy as a non-prescription drug?
Yeah, I mean, I can't give any thoughts on that for various reasons or for obvious reasons. I can't really. Oh, he was talking about Prevagen?
Yeah.
Right, I've seen what did I think about Prevagen? It's supposed to help improve your memory. So I don't know. You really have to do the research, but of course, Being a representative of the Alzheimer's Association, I cannot, give opinions on that. But thank you for the question. Yes.
I had read years ago that they suspected that the use of aluminum foil in cooking was leading to a higher dementia, Alzheimer's. Has that been confirmed or?
Right. It has not really been confirmed. It was one study, and it only took a very few people in the study, and it has not been repeated, but it keeps circulating. That same story keeps circulating since the 80s. A study really needs to have enough people in it, and it should be able to be repeated. There is a certain amount of aluminum that we all have in our brains, some more than others, so the question is where and how did it formulate, but it hasn't been proven that it's something like our aluminum pans. Right. Yeah. Yes.
What does your organization recommend in the way of supplements?
Yeah, as far as supplements, we don't. We can't really recommend medications or supplements. We can just tell you to definitely talk with a nutritionist, talk to your doctor about the supplements. Yeah, I know. Any other questions? All right. Well, I thank you so much for your time. Again, the Alzheimer's Association, we're here for information relating to Alzheimer's and dementia. We're here for support. We have a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week helpline, support groups, education programs like this, care consultation where we have master level social workers willing to talk with families. So we are definitely available. And if you didn't get a chance to sign in, I'm sure that Dawn had a sign-in sheet. We would love to just, get you to fill that out. But thank you so much again.
Yeah.
Thank you.